What you call love might be something much deeper. And the dangerous part is, you don't even realize it while you're in it. At first, it feels like love, strong, intense, almost impossible to let go of. You think about them all the time. You feel everything more deeply. Your mood depends on them in ways you can't fully explain. And you tell yourself, this must be love because it feels so powerful. But look a little closer and something doesn't sit right. You feel anxious more than peaceful. You overthink more than you feel secure. You hold on tighter, not because it's healthy, but because you're afraid of losing them. And that's where it starts to shift. Because real love doesn't make you feel like you're constantly about to lose it. It doesn't leave you questioning your worth. It doesn't make you feel like you have to fight for basic understanding. So what is this feeling? Why does it feel so strong, yet so unstable? Why does it pull you in, even when it's hurting you? And the hardest question, why do you keep calling it love when something inside you knows it's not? Because sometimes what feels like love is actually something deeper, something rooted in fear, in attachment, in the need to be chosen. And that's what makes it dangerous, because the longer you mistake it for love, the longer you stay in something that slowly takes pieces of you away. It didn't feel like danger. It felt like something you couldn't lose. The most dangerous things don't feel wrong at the start. They feel important. In the beginning, nothing about it felt unhealthy. If anything, it felt rare, like you had found something people spend years searching for. The connection felt intense. The emotions felt real. The pull toward them felt almost magnetic. It wasn't calm, but you didn't question that. Because you thought, maybe this is what real love feels like. Something this strong has to mean something. So you leaned into it. You gave your time, your attention, your energy, without holding back. And the more you gave, the deeper you got pulled in. But slowly, something started to shift. Not loudly, not in a way that made you stop everything. Just in small, almost unnoticeable ways. You started checking your phone more often, waiting for their reply. You felt a drop in your chest when they seemed distant. You noticed how much your mood depended on how they treated you that day. And instead of questioning it, you accepted it, because you told yourself, that's just how love works. You care, so of course it affects you. But here's what you didn't see back then. You weren't just caring, you were attaching. Attaching your peace to their attention, attaching your happiness to their presence, attaching your sense of worth to how they made you feel in certain moments. And that's where it quietly becomes something deeper, because now it's no longer just about loving them. It's about needing them, needing their reassurance, needing their consistency, needing them to act a certain way, just so you can feel okay. And that's a heavy place to be in, because without realizing it, you've given them something they were never meant to hold, control over how you feel inside. And that's not love. But when you're in it, it feels exactly like it. 2. When it starts controlling you without you noticing. It stops being something you feel and starts becoming something that controls you. At some point, it's no longer just about missing them. It's about needing them to feel okay. You wake up and check if they texted. You replay their words, trying to understand what they meant. You notice every small change in their tone, and it affects you more than it should. And the scariest part, you don't question it, because in your mind, this is what caring deeply looks like. But slowly, your world starts to revolve around them. Your mood depends on their attention. Your peace depends on their consistency. Your confidence depends on how they treat you that day. And without realizing it, you've lost something important. Your center. Because now, you're not grounded in yourself anymore. You're reacting to them, waiting on them, adjusting yourself based on them. And that creates a quiet kind of exhaustion, the kind you can't fully explain. You feel drained, even when nothing bad has happened. You feel anxious, even when things seem okay. You feel unstable, even when you try to stay calm, because deep down, you're no longer in control of your emotions. They are, and that's where it becomes dangerous. Not because they're trying to hurt you, but because you've given them a power they were never meant to have. The power to decide how you feel about yourself. And once that happens, everything starts to feel heavier. You overthink more. You doubt yourself more. You hold on tighter, even when it's not making you happy. Because now, letting go doesn't just feel like losing them. It feels like losing a part of yourself. And that's not love. That's attachment that has gone too far. 3. When you realize it was never just love. The moment it clicks is the moment everything starts to feel different. One day, it slows down. Not the situation, but your mind. You're no longer reacting the same way. You're not chasing every message, every silence, every shift. Instead, you start observing. And that's when it happens. You notice how often you felt anxious around something that was supposed to feel safe. You notice how much of yourself you adjusted just to keep things stable. You notice how your peace was always dependent on something outside of you, and suddenly, it doesn't feel like love anymore. It feels like something else, something heavier, something that demanded more from you than it ever gave back. You start asking different questions, not why don't they act right, but why do I feel like this all the time? And that question changes everything, because now you're not focused on them. You're finally looking at yourself, at how much you tolerated, at how often you ignored your own discomfort, at how you stayed connected to something that kept pulling you out of yourself. And it hits you. This wasn't just love. Love doesn't feel like losing your balance. Love doesn't feel like constantly proving your worth. Love doesn't leave you feeling uncertain about where you stand. What you felt was real, but it wasn't healthy. It was attachment mixed with fear, connection mixed with dependency, care mixed with the need to be chosen, and that combination feels powerful. But it slowly drains you, and now that you see it, you can't pretend anymore. You can't call it love the same way you used to. Because now you understand, it wasn't just about them, it was about what you allowed yourself to stay in, and that realization, it doesn't just hurt, it wakes you up. 4. When you choose peace over intensity. The moment you stop chasing the feeling is the moment you start finding yourself again. At first, it feels empty. Letting go of something that once felt so intense because you got used to it. The highs, the lows, the constant pull that made everything feel alive, even when it was draining you. So when you step away, it doesn't feel peaceful right away. It feels quiet, too quiet. And part of you wants to go back, not because it was good for you, but because it felt familiar, because your mind got used to that cycle. The waiting, the hoping, the small moments of reassurance that kept you holding on. But this time, you pause. You don't react the same way. You don't run back to fill the silence. You sit with it, and slowly, something begins to change. You start noticing how calm feels different from empty, how peace doesn't come with anxiety attached to it, how real stability doesn't leave you questioning where you stand. And that realization, it grounds you. Because now you see what you couldn't see before. You weren't in love with peace. You were attached to intensity, to something that kept pulling you in and out of yourself. And now, you don't want that anymore. You don't want to feel like your emotions depend on someone else's actions. You don't want to question your worth just to keep someone close. You don't want to lose yourself just to feel something strong. You want something different, something steady, something that doesn't require you to fight for your own peace. And that shift, it changes everything, because now you're not chasing what feels exciting. You're choosing what feels right. And that's where real strength shows up, not in holding on, but in finally letting go of something that never truly held you the right way. And in the end, you realize it was never just love. It was something that slowly took you away from yourself. Because when everything settles, when the intensity fades and the silence no longer feels heavy, you finally see it for what it was. Not just a connection, not just emotions, but a pattern. A pattern where you kept giving more than you were receiving, where you kept hoping things would feel safe, even when they didn't, where you kept choosing them, while slowly losing yourself. And that's what hurts the most. Not that it ended, but that you remember how deeply you were in it, how real it felt, how much you believed in it, how many parts of yourself you gave, without realizing what it was costing you, because you weren't pretending. But now you understand, just because something feels real doesn't mean it's right for you. And that truth, it's heavy, because it means you have to accept something difficult, that what you were holding on to wasn't love in the way you needed it to be. It was something deeper, something that kept you attached, even when it was hurting you, something that made you stay, even when your peace was slowly disappearing. But here's where everything changes. You didn't lose love. You found awareness. You found the ability to see clearly, to recognize the difference between intensity and stability, between needing someone and being genuinely valued by them. And that's powerful, because now you're not going back to something that drains you just because it feels strong. You're not calling chaos love anymore. You're choosing something healthier, something calmer, something that doesn't ask you to sacrifice who you are just to keep it alive. And most importantly, you're choosing yourself. So if you're watching this and it feels like your story, take a moment and really sit with this. You didn't lose something real. You walked away from something that was slowly taking you away from yourself. And that's not a loss, that's growth. If this video touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this today. And in the comments, tell me, have you ever mistaken intensity for love?